Hi, Andrea Clausen here, and today we have a gentle yoga practice. And today, if you have props, or the props you might want, are maybe a couple yoga blocks if you have them handy, or a strap. So if you have a yoga strap, grab that. If not, you can always use a belt or even a dog leash, and that can be used for our hamstring openings that we're going to do with our strap today. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we can put those props off to the side, and we're going to start by taking a comfortable seated position just to do a couple minutes of grounding down and checking in with ourselves. So we can start with our palms down if we want a little grounding, or palms flipped up if we need a little bit more energy today. So you can decide where you're at. And we'll go ahead and just take a nice deep inhale in through our nose, and open mouth, exhale out through the mouth. Take another nice deep inhale in through the nose, and open mouth, exhale out through the mouth. We'll go ahead and seal off the lips, and we'll begin by breathing in and out through the nose, maybe closing your eyes. And just start by noticing the breath. Noticing if maybe with each exhale, you can maybe exhale out 1 second longer. So if your current exhale is going out for a count of 4, try to exhale out for a count of 5. Now see if you can breathe all the way down into that low belly. So with that inhale, pulling in air from all the way down from the lowest part of your belly, and then exhaling that air out all the way down to the low belly. Feeling your lungs expand and contract with your breath. Grounding down into the present moment. Connecting into your body. Bringing your awareness down to the 4 corners of your mat. And settling into your practice today. Maybe giving yourself an intention that you want for your practice, not only during your practice, but bring out into the world after we're done. Usually the first word that you thought of is the word to go with. So for me, the first thing that came to mind was ease. Once you have that word on your next exhale, just release it, knowing it will come back to you whenever it's needed today. You're going to gently bow your chin to your chest, opening up the eyes. We're going to go ahead and grab that strap or belt or dog leash and lay down on your mat. You're going to lay on your back. We're going to start by keeping the left knee bent, and we're going to go ahead and place that strap on the arch of the right foot. Now from here, you're going to be pushing that left foot into the floor, and your low back is pushed down onto the mat. We're going to take the strap and we're going to slowly pull that right leg back towards our face. So we're opening up right through the back of that right hamstring. So for myself, I have pretty tight hamstrings, so this is about where I feel it right now. So if you have pretty open hamstrings, you might be able to go a lot farther. But whenever you find your threshold, you're going to stay there and just take a few breaths. So maybe on that exhale, you can gently work the leg closer to your face. Inhale, finding that length in the hamstring muscle, and the exhale, walking that leg closer into the face. Now, if you have a long enough strap, let those arms rest on the floor. So let them do a little work, but not as much work as they maybe need to if you're hovering up here. So if you have a longer strap, try to rest those arms down. And we'll be here for about another 30 seconds. So once more, finding that breath, connecting in. next exhale, go ahead and take the strap, both sides of the strap now, into that left hand. You're going to gently let the right leg fall out to the right. And as you do so, you're going to turn your toes down towards the floor. So you're opening up through the adductor, pointing that toe down towards the floor, getting a little bit into the IT band as well. Making sure that that left foot is pressing down onto the floor and connecting that left hip with the mat still. So our pelvis is stabilized. And we're just feeling a nice slight opening, maybe deeper opening, depending on that flexibility on this side. Then on your next exhale, gently guiding that right leg back to center. We're going to go ahead and straighten the left leg now. You're going to take those straps, and they're mostly going to be in the right hand this side, but we're going to gently guide the right leg across the body. Now I have a wall here, so I'm going to scoot a little bit farther away. But you're going to let that right leg fall to the right. It's going to hover above the floor, but wherever you're at, you're still trying to keep the right shoulder down on the mat. You can stay looking up towards the ceiling, or maybe you look over that right shoulder. And if you want to get into the IT band, which is the side part of the leg, try to point your toes down towards the floor. So those right toes, you're going to try to rotate so that your heel's towards the ceiling, your toes are towards the floor, and that's going to get a little bit more into that IT band. So great if you're a runner to open up through that IT band. We'll be here for a few more deep breaths, using that exhale to release. Noticing if you're squeezing any muscles that you don't need right now. Releasing, gripping through your toes. And we'll exhale, taking that right leg back up to center. Bending back into the left knee. Taking that left foot high to the sky. Replacing now the left foot into the strap. Right knee is going to bend and right foot on the floor. We're going to go ahead and find that same spot on the left side. So it might be a different spot. So maybe your left hamstring is a little bit more open. But you're going to find that sweet spot where you feel that tension, but you can still easily breathe here. So your inhale, you find that length in the hamstring. The exhales maybe when you deepen yourself back into the stretch. So really using the breath, relaxing those arms, relaxing the shoulders. Releasing the low back down into the mat. And relaxing your face, releasing any gripping through the jaw, through your forehead. And then on your next exhale, you're going to take that left leg and guiding out towards the left. Keeping your right hip down this time, and maybe turning those left toes down towards the floor. And getting into that hamstring and the adductor or inner thigh. Breathing here. Connecting in with that right inner thigh, making sure that that knee isn't opening to the right. But keeping that inside part of the foot grounded. Two more deep breaths here. And exhale, taking it back to center. This time straightening the right leg out and taking those straps into the left hand, guiding that left leg across the body, and then rotating those toes down towards the floor. Once more, that left shoulder will be stabilized to the floor. You're looking up towards the ceiling or over that left shoulder. We'll take a few deep breaths here, opening up through that IT band, through the glutes, through the low back, wherever you're feeling it. And it might be different for everyone. So honoring what's showing up in your body today. Once more, releasing any gripping that you don't need. Maybe in the right glutes, through your shoulders, relaxing your hands just a bit. And with that next exhale, gently guiding that left leg back towards the ceiling. And go ahead and bending into the knee, releasing the strap. Setting the strap off to the side. We're just going to go ahead and hug the knees into the chest. Gently rock on the spine, side to side. And then we're going to go ahead and roll over to our right or left side. We're going to take just a couple breaths here. And then when you're ready, pushing into that right or left hand, coming up to all fours. So finding all fours on your mat, we're going to go ahead and take it through a few cat-cows into down dog. So you're going to let the belly sink, looking straight up in front of you, rolling through your spine as you look back between your knees, and then curling the toes under, pushing back down dog. Sinking back down onto your knees, letting the belly hang heavy, looking up towards the front of the room, rolling through your spine, and pushing back down dog. Take a few more of these with your own pace, finding your own breath and your own movement. So maybe your inhale you hold, exhale you move. We'll all do one more, and then we're going to meet in a down dog. Now from this down dog, we're going to go ahead and take that right foot, stepping it between our hands. We're going to go ahead and drop down to that left knee. And maybe you grab your blocks if you have them. If not, no worries. We're going to gently take our hands and frame that right foot, dropping our left hip down towards the mat, pulling the right hip back, and then we're going to walk those hands back, straightening through that right hamstring. And then we're going to be walking those hands forward, bending into the right knee. We're going to take this a few times. So I'm doing this because we're going to be opening up into a little deeper of a hamstring balancing pose today. So we're just taking some extra time to warm up those hamstrings because it will be a pose that you can practice. Practice at home, and it will improve your balance as well. So we're just going to get those hamstrings nice and open. The next time that that right leg is straight, we're going to go ahead and hold that leg straight, curling the toes back, pulling your shoulders down and back, looking towards the right toes. Taking a few breaths here. And then exhale, walking those hands forward, curling the left toe under. We're going to go ahead and come up into a high crescent lunge. So lifting those arms up and overhead. You can either stay here or add a twist, dropping that left hand down to the floor or to your block. Right arm opens to the sky. Shoulders pull down and away from your ears. Exhale the right hand to frame that right foot. Both hands come to the floor, stepping it back, high plank. Chaturanga, lowering all the way down onto the belly. Cobra, lifting your chest up, pulling those shoulders down and back. Releasing down to the mat, curl your toes under. And like a nice stiff board, we're pushing up high plank and back to our down dog. This time we're taking that left foot, stepping it between our hands, dropping to our right knee. We're going to go ahead, maybe grab those blocks again, framing that left foot, walking those hands back, straightening through the left leg, toes curl back to the face, and then walking those hands forward. Once more, taking this with your breath, taking your time here. Exhale is when we deepen into the pose. Inhale is maybe when we hold the pose. So just kind of noticing what feels good in your body today. And you hopefully are noticing your hamstrings are feeling a little more open from the strap exercises that we did as our warm-up today. And the next time that that left leg is straight, go ahead and hold that leg straight, curl those toes back, opening through that hamstring, keep pulling those shoulders down and back. Keep pulling that left hip back. And then exhale, walking those hands forward. Go ahead and curl the right toes under this time, lifting up high crescent, pulling the left hip back. And then maybe you find that right hand comes to the floor or up to a block. Left hand reaches to the sky, getting a nice twist and opening through the chest. Breathing here. And exhale, framing that left foot, stepping it back, high plank, lowering down chaturanga, coming up to cobra, uncurling the toes, lifting the chest, And then pushing like a nice straight board up to our high plank, back to our down dog. Pedaling out those heels, making sure those fingers are nice and wide like a starfish. From here, we're going to go ahead and look between our hands, slowly walk our feet up behind our wrist, forward fold, maybe grabbing opposite elbows here. I'm shedding some layers because I know it's coming. Go ahead and release your grip, releasing those hands back down to the floor. Coming up halfway lift, releasing back down, and slowly standing all the way up, arms lift up and overhead, bringing the palms together, coming down to heart center. All right, so from here, at the top edge of our mat, we're gonna go ahead and step back with our left foot. Right toes are facing forward, opening into our warrior two. So from here, we're working on opening up through those hips, finding that heel to arch alignment. Arms are extension of the shoulders. If this is too much for shoulders, you can always keep your hands at heart center. But hips are still trying to stay open. And from here, we're looking past our fingers, bending into that right knee, finding that space. Do you have more space to give? Can you go just a little deeper? Exhale, release that left hand back, right arm up to the sky, reverse your warrior. Releasing any gripping in the toes. Exhale it back to your warrior two. Straightening through those right toes, you're gonna go ahead and reach it forward and bring that right hand down, left hand up, triangle. Now from here, you can stay with that hand there, or you can always use a block and gently rest your hand on a block and reaching that left hand to the sky. So wherever you're at, you really try to use those obliques to open. Feel that stretch. 2 more deep breaths here. Pretend someone's pulling that left wrist, pulling you up and back, keeping that right leg straight. You're gonna turn your right toes now to face forward. So now your left and your right toes should be facing forward. From here, arms are coming out to the side, slowly forward fold it down, hands release to the floor or to a block. And you might stay here, or you might slowly walk those hands to the back edge of your mat. So now we're getting a little deeper into those hamstrings. You're pulling your chest down through your legs, feeling that release. Inhale finds that space, exhale finds the depth. 2 more deep breaths here. And then exhale, walk those hands underneath the shoulders. Gently bend a little bit into the knees, push through your heels, slowly roll up to stand. Arms coming back out to shoulder height. Pivot your left toes now to face the side. Bend into your left knee. Warrior two, you should be facing the back edge of your mat. Looking down the left fingertips, bending into that left knee. Finding your depth, finding your space here. Can you go deeper? Should you go deeper? It all depends on who's practicing and how you're feeling today in your body. 1 more breath here. On that exhale, right hand goes down, left arm goes up to the sky. Finding that opening now, releasing gripping in the toes. Taking that left hand forward, back to your warrior two, straightening that left leg, reaching those fingertips forward, dropping the left hand down, right arm to the sky, triangle pose. Once more, finding that depth. Can you find that space? Can you make that triangle shape? Can you roll your right ribs higher up to the sky, which might pull your left hand higher on your leg? Find that space and breathe here. Exhale, pretend someone's pulling that right wrist, pulling you up and back. Turn your left toes now to face forward once more. Both toes facing forward. Hands are gonna slide down the legs this time. Release those hands and you're gonna hold them at your ankles. So getting a nice stretch here. If balance is an issue, please put them down in front of you. But if you wanna go ahead and grab your ankles and slowly pull that head through, or maybe grabbing behind your calves or up by your thighs, wherever you can reach. 2 deep breaths here. Now exhale, everyone putting those hands right underneath the shoulders. We're gonna go ahead and walk our hands to our left foot as we straighten our right leg. And then we're gonna walk our hands to our right foot as we straighten the left. And we're just gonna do this a few times with your own breath. So if this feels really good to hang out, just hang out here. And then once you've been here for 3 to 4 breaths, go ahead and switch sides. If you just want more movement, just go ahead and move side to side. All that I want you to pay attention to is your torso, so the back part of you. And I want you to pay attention to, kind of like that low back area. If I could balance a cup of coffee right on your low back. So keeping that nice and still. So we're really moving from the core, and those legs are perfectly still, so we're not jolting all over with our body. So we're making this a smooth transition. We're balancing that cup of coffee, and we're opening up those legs, and we're feeling good. Go ahead and even yourself out now, and we're all gonna meet in that wide leg forward fold, hands underneath our shoulders. Go ahead and take those hands out to the sides, push through your heels, slowly roll up to stand. And we're gonna go ahead and pivot our toes to face the front edge of your mat, big step off with that left foot, and come to stand at the top of your mat. All right, now that we are a little warmed up, we are gonna start with that balancing posture that we were working up to today. So hopefully our hamstrings are feeling open. Now for this one, you will want that block, or a pillow will also work. So something that you can grab. So a block works nice, and depending on flexibility, your block can sit the lower way, or you can sit it the taller way. Same thing with a pillow, or even with a bolster, you can use that too. So we're gonna go ahead and hold that pillow, the bolster, a block, whatever you have at your chest. We're gonna start on the right leg. So we're gonna bend into the left knee. Our right foot is stationary, our right foot is down. So I'm gonna show you from the side what it looks like first. So our right leg is the working leg, and this is kind of a warrior 3 practice with the balancing component. So you're gonna take that left leg straight back behind you. As you do so, your hands with the block, with your pillow, are gonna reach to the floor. You're gonna place the block onto the floor. You're gonna balance, and then drive that left knee up to 90 degrees. Now, if you need to, go to a wall, go by a couch, go by something where you can balance or practice with. Otherwise, we're gonna take that left leg straight back, keeping that right leg straight so you get that stretch. Grab your block, your pillow, and we're coming back up, this time with our block or pillow. Next time, we're going to go ahead and dropping it back down to the floor, leaving it on the inside of that right foot. Good thing I have a wall that time. And then you're going to go ahead and balance up. No block this time. We're going to do that 2 more times on this side. Going back down, feeling that stretch, opening through that hamstring, picking up your block or pillow, coming back up. We got 1 more on this side. So hopefully we feel that nice stretch in that hamstring. It's also working. So not only are we stretching, but we're getting some strengthening here too. Last time, we're gonna go ahead and pick it up this time. Coming down, picking up that block, the pillow, and then placing that left foot down. Shaking out that right foot. Hopefully that went all right. All right, we each have a favorite side. So maybe you already did your favorite side, and now you're on to the other side. We'll find out. Usually this side is my favorite side. So I saved my favorite for last. But we're gonna take that block to our chest. This time the right leg is going back. We're gonna straighten through the left, hands coming down to the floor, placing the block down, and gently coming up to stand, driving that right knee up. Same thing, right leg is extending back. Left leg is straight, but never locked. And then go ahead and pick up. So once more, you can always use that block. If this is too hard and you're really struggling with the balance, I'm gonna show you on this next one what you can do. Probably should have shown you earlier. But what you can do is just leave your right toes down behind you, and you can hinge forward at your waist, pick up your block or pillow, and then maybe you drive that knee up. All right, so you can always do that as an option, keeping that back foot down and bringing it up. But this is 1 more for everyone. So everyone go down, pick up your block, and driving that knee up. Good. And releasing that leg down, shaking that out. We're going to keep our block or pillow handy though, because we're going to sit down in a chair pose, and we're going to use our block as a prop. So you're going to place it between your inner thighs. You can stay facing forward on your mat. I'm just going to face you for reference. So we're going to place that there. We're going to go ahead and sink down in those hips, arms lift overhead. We're just going to hold here, squeezing our adductors, releasing our shoulders down our back, holding here, breathing. And then releasing everyone down, forward fold. Keeping that block between the thighs. Coming into a halfway lift. Releasing it back down. Pushing through the heels, arms lift up and overhead. Bringing the palms together and coming down to heart center. We'll go ahead and remove that block now. And then at the top of our mat, we're going to go ahead and take a big, deep forward fold, stepping it back or jumping it back, high plank. This time we're going to chaturanga down and coming into our Sphinx pose. So bringing those forearms through, shoulders pulled down and away from the ears, toes are pointed straight back behind you. Now in this pose, you're trying to keep your shoulders and your elbows in alignment. So this is going to feel a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more crunchy on the neck. So make sure you keep those elbows pulled back. If you want to go for a little bit more and it feels okay, go ahead and push into your hands right where they are and push up into seal. So this is going to be more intense. If it's too intense, please come back to Sphinx. If this gets too intense, release your forehead down to the top of your mat. But we're going to be here for just about another 5 or 6 more breaths. Opening through the spine. Releasing that low back. Now we're just going to go ahead and drop the chin to our chest, trace our collarbone, and look over that left shoulder. And then tracing your collarbone, go ahead and look back to center, and then up and over your right shoulder. Tracing your collarbone back to center, looking up, and then releasing everyone down to crocodile, letting that forehead come to the top of your hands, heels in, toes turned out. Just taking a few breaths here to recenter, recalibrate. Feeling that breath go all the way down to the low belly. We're going to go ahead and take those legs straight back behind us. Taking the hands alongside the chest. Pushing ourselves up straight like a board, curling those toes under, high plank, and pushing it up and back, down dog. From here, we're going to take that right knee, we're going to place it behind our right wrist, and we're going to come into pigeon pose. So that right ankle is going to be behind the left wrist, right knee is behind the right wrist. Lengthen that left leg straight back behind you. Sitting up nice and tall, coming down onto the forearms. Maybe you release all the way down to the floor, but have something for your head. So if your head isn't quite reaching the floor, grab a block, stack your fist, let your head hang and rest on something. And we'll settle in here. We're going to be here about a minute on each side, so relaxing through the glute. Trying not to squeeze or grip. And if you want to focus on a breath, go ahead and inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 6. Two more deep breaths here. And then we'll exhale, pushing back up into those hands. And go ahead and curl the left toes under, pushing up and back, down dog, pedaling out those heels, shaking your hips side to side, taking cat-cow, whatever you want to do before you go on to that left side. Taking that left knee behind the left wrist, sitting up nice and tall, finding that space, and then maybe coming down to the forearms, letting your head rest on a block, your fists, the floor. Once more, we're going to be here for about a minute, and I invite you back into your breath work of making your exhale 1 to 2 counts longer than your inhale. 2 more deep breaths on this side. Go ahead and exhale, pushing back up into those hands, curling the right toe under, lifting those hips up and back. Down dog, pedaling out those heels. Maybe dropping to the knees, taking a few cat-cows. And when you're ready, we're all going to meet on our backs. And I'm going to give you an option once more with your block if you want it. So if you have a block, go ahead and grab that now. We're going to go ahead and lay down on our backs. We're going to take a bridge pose. So you can either do a more strength-based bridge pose or restorative. So strength-based, hands are going to be alongside your hips. You're going to lift your hips up high to the sky and hold here. If you want more restorative, grab that block, place it underneath that low back, and let your low back kind of melt around it. So your glutes should be a little bit off as well as that low back. And this should feel like a nice restorative pose and also opens up through the front of the hip flexors. Again, if you want to work on that strength, no block, keep those hips lifted, squeeze the glutes, make sure those knees are coming together. Holding here for everyone. Taking a few deep breaths. And then we're going to exhale, rolling everything down onto our mat. Hugging the knees into the chest. Bending into the knees, grabbing outside arches of the ankles or of the feet, or shins or knees, wherever you need to. And then go ahead and try to keep that 90-degree bend in the knee joint, and maybe you rock side to side, maybe you find stillness, but lengthening that low back down on the floor wherever you're at. Taking a few breaths here. And then exhale once more, hugging the knees in, one tight ball, bringing your forehead up towards your knees. And then releasing everything down into a Shavasana, straightening out those legs, palms flipped open and towards the ceiling in a gesture of receiving. We're going to be here for a couple minutes. I'm going to cue you when to come out. And maybe you connect back to that intention that you set earlier today. Slowly starting to wiggle fingers and toes, rolling ankles and wrists around. Maybe you're turning your head from side to side. Nice tall body stretch, taking those arms up and overhead, bending into the knees, and rolling onto your right or left side, taking a few breaths there to recenter, renew, and recalibrate. Then when you're ready, gently pushing into that hands, coming to sit up. Find a nice tall spine. Eyes can be gently closed, palms flip down on your legs. Go ahead and take a breath, bringing those arms up and overhead, palms together, bringing them down to our third eye, that spot between our eyebrows, trusting our intuition, bringing your hands to your lips, speaking your truth, bringing your hands to heart center, knowing yourself. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste.